Well, today, Randy, let's go visit Busby Cellars.
Busby Cellars is owned by Sherrie and Elliot Graham. Elliot is quite the winemaker, especially with Zinfandel. I understand he has half the ranch is planted with Zinfandel grapes, but I also understand they have a great Chardonnay as well. So let's go check in with Elliot and maybe Sherrie and see what they're doing today.
All right, let's go. Well, hi, you guys. We're here at Busby Cellars with Elliot. Elliot, I'm Mike.
Mike, my pleasure.
Hi, Elliot. Randy.
Randy, thanks for coming out. We appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit about your history. How did you end up with Busby Cellars? How did it all begin?
Okay, great. Yeah, what you're looking at now is 15 acres of vineyard. When we purchased the property in 1999, none of this was here with the exception of the old 1920s barn. So all of this has been added since 1999. We went through ourselves, did all the work, put in all the vines, all the stakes, and now we're up to 15 acres planted. Our goal was to just create a small family-owned vineyard and winery, and we've been going strong now for 15 years. Yeah.
Cool. And what is your background as far as growing grapes and having a vineyard? Where do you come from, and how did you get here?
Okay, I grew up not too far from here, in a town called Loomis, which is on the Highway 80 corridor. We're here now, we're off of Highway 50. One of the sort of interesting tidbits about this area is, and why we're honored that people come up here, we're about 15 miles from any major highway. We're 15 miles from Highway 49, 15 miles from Highway 50, 15 miles from Highway 88. So it's really nice that people make the effort to come out and see us. And it's one of the things that we really enjoyed about this area when we started looking for property. It seemed like a little tucked away nook up in the country. We weren't interested in a big commercial operation, and that led us here to El Dorado County.
So you obviously have 15 acres planted. What varietals do you have?
Yeah, we grow all reds here. Another nice thing about this area is we're very flexible on the varieties that we can grow. Hardy reds seem to do the best. So we've planted, of our 15 acres planted, we have 7 acres of Zinfandel. We have Syrah, Petite Syrah, Tempranillo, Grenache, Mourvedre. And then we have some blenders too that we specifically use for blending. That's Petit Verdot and Malbec.
And so you are the winemaker and the owner?
And the garbage man.
And the garbage man. All right, good.
Yeah, again,
Excellent.
one of the nice things about being a small winery is you do get to be involved in every aspect of it. So I do all the vineyard management, which is really nice because from a winemaking standpoint, it's really great to get to know your fruit and your vineyard, and you can learn specific microclimates about your vineyard and how that will translate into flavors in wine. And later when we taste some wine, I'll show you that.
Is everything watered, or some things require water anymore, or how does that work?
Of our 15 acres, we irrigate 8 or 9 acres of it. All of our Zinfandel, and we're heavily focused on Zinfandel, we dry farm, meaning that we don't apply any water at all other than rainfall during the winter.
Wow.
So it's kind of a tough, risky proposition to take because you're very worried. The first year you cut off water, you're very worried about what that will mean for the plants. But these are vines. They don't want to be controlled. They want to go crazy, So for us, stopping water once we got through that initial trepidation was not a problem at all. We didn't see any difference as far as the health of the vine. What we saw is a smaller quantity in the vineyard, a smaller crop, but a better quality crop.
Wow.
What do you want to convey to the viewers as far as what's so unique about your place that you pride yourself with?
Yeah, again, as I was just saying, it's so nice to be able to be involved in every aspect of the wines, from vineyard to bottle. We've had wines in the past where no one else has handled the grapes at all except for me from the time we've actually picked them, and we don't do all the picking ourselves.
Right.
But occasionally there'll be something where I've gone through, picked myself, crushed myself, and then a few years later bottled myself. So it's a very boutique operation, but it's very nice to be able to control the entire aspect of your operation from the ground to the bottle.
So you're very proud, to say the least.
Yes, it's most assuredly a labor of love.
I bet you.
Elliot, how many barrels do you actually fit in this room?
Well, as we walked in the vineyard earlier, we have about 15 acres of grapes. We process everything here, so it comes down to about 2,000 cases per year. So each year we're making approximately 80 barrels. In the room here, you'll find about 160 barrels because we always have 2 vintages at the same time. Yeah, and we use 4 types of barrels. So we have American oak, French oak. We have recently started using Hungarian oak for specific wines, and then you'll notice the stainless tanks too, which we do our white wines in.
I don't think we've ever seen that, have we?
No, you use this for what?
For white wines.
Okay.
So typically, in years past, wine buyers have really gravitated toward the big oaky, buttery wines, especially in Chardonnays.
Right.
But in more recent history, you'll notice the popularity of wines like Pinot Grigio, Sauvignon Blanc, and those are well known for their crispness, higher acidity, more of a food-friendly wine. So in recent years, we've started doing our Chardonnay and our Viognier in the stainless steel barrels. And the added bonus is you never have to get rid of them.
Oh, yeah, very nice.
So do they take long? I mean, you do your fermentation before you add it to the barrel.
Yes.
And do you have to leave them any longer? They stay the same length of time as a Zin would stay in a barrel?
Yeah, again, because it's a white wine, typically it's less time in barrel. So essentially this is just aging in a tank, but a smaller tank.
I see.
With our Chardonnay, we ferment in tank, then we go into the smaller barrels, typically for about a year. And then maybe 3 or 4 months before bottling, we will go into oak. We use neutral French oak for that process. And that's simply so that the wine will go through secondary fermentation. When you think of a buttery wine, you're thinking more of that softness. So we're trying to achieve that without that oaky flavor.
I see. Okay. All right. Great.
Well, let's go over to the barrels and you can tell us what you got here.
Yes, absolutely. We've talked about it. It'd be nice to finally taste the barrel. So what we have here is Zinfandel, and this is aged in American oak. This is a 2012 vintage, and these are barrels that we introduced in 2012. So you will be able to get an interpretation of how the oak actually affects the wine because these are fairly new. So what I'd like to do...
Thank you, sir.
Sure, my pleasure.
And what do they actually call this apparatus you have in here?
This is called a wine thief. Yeah.
Okay. That would...
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure. So a little bit later, we'll taste 3 different Zinfandels in bottle.
Okay.
The 3 that we'll taste, we can compare to this one. But I will have you taste now this one in barrel, a 2012, versus the exact same wine from the same vineyard that we've bottled already.
Wow, that is smooth.
Oh, yeah.
It's the oak that does that, huh?
Now, American oak is known for kind of an herbal, spicy flavor. Barrels are actually considered an ingredient in the wine, believe it or not.
Really?
Yes, yeah, it's the only flavor additive that we can
Claim? Or...
Exactly right. So on a wine like Zinfandel, a big wine like Petite Syrah, typically we use American oak because the grape will stand up to that. Wines such as Syrah, Grenache, Mourvedre, typically the wines from the Rhone region of France will use French oak, which is a completely different finish.
Right, I did not know that. I know there was a huge price difference between American and the French.
There is.
I just figured the French just wanted our money.
There is currently a trend now where instead of the barrels being assembled in France, they're shipping the wood over and creating them here.
Okay. It
So
saves a little bit.
more.
Okay.
So, and later we'll pair this wine with 2 other Zinfandels, but this is again that same vineyard, just 1 year earlier.
Okay.
You'll probably notice a little bit less of that oak flavor on the finish. Barrel aging, you're tasting everything now before it's filtered.
Correct.
In bottle after we filter the wine, you notice a little bit less of that.
Oh, yeah.
It's still very nice. Still very nice.
Thank you.
Very good. Now, is this something that the general public can actually take one of these barrels home in the back of their truck? It doesn't work that way. Because we have a big truck.
Okay.
Well, Randy, we're finally in the wine tasting room with Elliot. And so, Elliot, what do you have for us today you'd like us to try?
Yeah, today I'd like to focus on Zinfandel, if you don't mind.
Okay.
It's, up here we grow about 9 different varietals here in the vineyard. We make Last year we made 17 different wines. Self-admittedly, it's way too many. But what we focus on mainly is Zinfandel. We do 3 very distinctive styles, which is one nice thing about Zinfandel in this area. You can have completely different interpretations of that variety. You can have very peppery ones, spicy ones, very jammy, fruit-forward wines. And the fruit represents itself in all different ways too. You can have real bright cherry fruit, raspberry fruit, or heading toward the darker fruit. So I have 3 styles today that I'd love for you guys to taste.
Okay, sounds good.
So the first one I'd like you to taste is an old vine vineyard. It's a well-known vineyard here in El Dorado County called the Herbert Vineyard. This one is really well known for that peppery characteristic. So if you notice on the finish, that spice. And since you guys are tasting, it would only be right if I tried.
Yeah, I think so.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So if you notice the fruit,
Oh yeah.
you get more of that cherry flavor, kind of a little crisper fruit.
Right.
And definitely that peppery spice on the
Definitely
finish.
the pepper.
So the 3 Zins that you'll try today, this would be the most food friendly.
Very
I like
nice.
that. I like that.
So then we'll try our estate Zinfandel. So we have 15 acres planted here on the vineyard. 7 of it is planted to Zinfandel. Now this is from a vineyard that is dry farmed, meaning we don't apply any water, any irrigation at all during the season.
Oh, really?
Yes, the last time we watered this one was 2005.
Really?
So when you dry farm a vineyard, typically you have a lower yield, so lesser crop, but a higher quality crop. So if you notice the difference between these two, the fruit is a little leaning more toward the darker fruits like blueberry and blackberry, because it's what you're getting is smaller clusters, smaller berries, and more intense flavor.
Wow.
Can you tell the difference between the two?
Oh, yeah.
You'll be sick of Zinfandel by the time you're done with this.
I don't think so.
I've never seen that happen with Mike yet.
No, not yet, you know, but we'll keep working on it. That was great. That was really good. That was very good.
And then the 3rd style, this is also grown in our vineyard. We call this Block 7 Zinfandel. All of our vineyards are planted in sections of 1,000 plants or blocks. So the 7th block happens to be the most hilltop section of the vineyard. So if you'll first smell this wine, you can already get much more fruit, more of a jammy quality.
Oh, yeah.
The reason for that is because this section is on the hill, it ripens a little bit earlier, a little higher sugar content, and you get that fruit-forward, jammy flavor.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Nice finish. Very nice finish.
You can still tell it's a Zinfandel, though. But
Yeah.
So our goal is to make 3 very distinctively different Zinfandels for all types of palates.
You did a good job. Very good job.
Thank you.
Well, let's go outside and see what's going on.
Hi, you guys. We're back at Busby Cellars, and we have some friends here that we'd like to introduce to you, and they can maybe tell us what they think of the wine, why they're here, and what they find to be the most enjoyable part of this winery. So if you guys would introduce yourselves.
Oh, I'm Julie Mauvais.
I'm Troy.
Dennis?
Denise Parrish.
So what is it that you guys are attracted to? Why did you guys come here? Do you know the people? Do you've been here on a regular basis? What's your reasoning?
Well, we were held captive in his van,
Oh, okay.
and
so,
he knows these people.
Okay.
So we had to go where he wanted to
I did some work on
go.
Elliot's house, and
Okay.
I was out here. Told him we were going to Passport, and he said, "Well, come on by." And so it was small, intimate setting, not a lot of people like at some of the bigger wineries,
Right.
and small crops, and just excellent wine.
Very
really
good wine.
Very good wine.
Really
Yeah.
good wine.
You guys are in?
Reasonably priced.
Yes.
Are you Zinfandel drinkers, or did you just like reds or
I-
whites? Or?
I'm a Zinfandel drinker,
all
definitely.
wine.
And he's got a nice red mix right now that he just opened up for dinner night because he knows we specifically like that kind of wine.
Very nice.
So it's very good.
Called Ranch Red.
Ranch
Ranch red.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Elliot, thanks so much. We really have enjoyed ourselves.
Oh,
We had
Randy.
quite the hospitality.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming. Appreciate it
very
Yeah,
much.
It's nice that you could come up and see our property and take advantage of our Passport weekend, which is one of the really nice things about El Dorado County. So yeah, thank you for coming.
Well, it was fun. We had a great time. Wonderful wine, and looks like the people are enjoying the food as well.
Great. Yeah. And now we'll get you a glass.
All right.
All right.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Bye.
You know, Michael, when we started exploring the vines a year ago, one of our goals was to pick out unique and different types of wineries, ones that we might not normally see or might not stand out to us as we're traveling through the wine countries of Northern California. But what's interesting to me is that we've found people that do unique things in their wineries. They might create artwork, they might have special types of wine that they're producing. They may have small little vineyards just to add to the existing big vineyards like the Zinfandel that we're standing in right now. You know, the other thing that I find is very interesting is that all these people are taking on fermentation a different way. For example, yesterday not only did we see a winery, but we also saw a brewery. Right. And last season we visited Jack Russell. It's the same way. There's these people that are so creative and they come from all walks of life, and they come out here and they start a brand new winery and they have their own idea, and that's what makes everything unique in California, I think, whether it be Northern California or Southern California where you're from, and all the breweries and wineries that have popped up there.
And what impresses me the most too, as well as all of these people that we have met have been professionals that have had careers in aerospace. Elliot right here at Busby Cellars was a school teacher in secondary for special ed. So these people have had professions way before their interest with a vineyard. So to make that switch, you know it's got to be a love to do this. So that impresses me, that these people have moved on to a second career, and you know there's love involved with this completely.
So that will wrap it up for this episode of Exploring the Vines. Until next time, I'm Randy Aspinall.
And I'm Mike Benoit. We'll see you in the tasting room.